Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Fiction Game, a variety tabletop role-playing game stream. As always, I'm your host, Jack, and with me today are Tom, Hayden, Sam. Because we don't have Miles today, we're doing what we're calling a pickup game. We've done them in the past. You've heard of them. We're instead of a really big long-form campaign, we're going to attempt, at least, to condense a tabletop role-playing game down into a more short story-like format, something brief, something we can go through, and something a little more experimental, because if it doesn't pan out, boo-hoo, we'll be back to the good campaign next week. Get over it. So, without further ado, let's get started on the newest pickup game, A Town That Nobody Will Miss. It was the summer of 2022, when Upland, Arizona became the site of a number of strange and disturbing goings-on. A gray-green mist gathered at the borders of the small community, weather patterns shifted, and most concerningly, in the unholy twilight hours of the arid summer, a soft and subtle chanting could be heard in the surrounding hills, like the melodic thrum of an ancient heart reawakened. It is no coincidence that these events happened here, of course. Upland was chosen for a very clever, very exacting, and very nefarious reason. It was a town that nobody would miss. In the small town of Upland, Arizona, we're going to find our three heroes in a more cosmic horror setting than we're used to. I don't know how much Lovecraftian fiction you guys have read. I haven't even finished reading. Yeah, I haven't finished reading the complete omnibus. He's got the whole. He wrote a lot. It's good stuff, and it's all short stories, so you don't really have to. Yeah. Of course, Lovecraftian fiction is one of those umbrella terms that gets slapped onto everything, kind of like the term roguelike, just gets slapped onto like 3/4 of indie games. So the actual definitions of like what's Lovecraftian are very blurred and not very followed very well, and I don't intend to change that here. I'm not a purist or even really a professional or particularly well read, but we're gonna try a little bit of cosmic horror anyways. This should be exciting for you guys because Lovecraftian horror, unlike the traditional forms of horror before it that were very tropey and like genre specific, one of the hallmarks of cosmic horror that Lovecraft added to the genre was that his characters weren't morons. You know how you'll watch a horror movie and they all have to act like idiots in order for the plot to work? They all kind of have to be dumb, horny teenagers in a cabin in the woods who want to split up to find the bad guy. Lovecraft's protagonists were intelligent and competent and accomplished, and typically they ultimately lost anyways, and ultimately that's way more frightening than idiots being eaten by a werewolf in the woods. So competent, intelligent characters faced with inscrutable evil. Let's get started making your characters. Just like we did for the big campaign, the Other Worlds campaign, I'm going to give each of you 3 options each for a number of different questions, and you can choose between them, and yeah, then we'll meet your characters right now, starting with Tom. 3 character choices for you. Are you an injured Navy veteran, a jewel thief in hiding after his most recent heist, or a renowned operatic composer?
Oh, I'm definitely a renowned operatic composer.
Sounds good. Next up, Sam. Are you a concerned psychiatrist from out of town, a desperate archaeologist looking for a reason to get his grant renewed, or a wealthy megachurch preacher?
Oh man. What am I concerned about as a psychiatrist?
You would be here visiting a patient who lives in Upland.
Megachurch preacher.
Megachurch preacher it is. And finally, Hayden. Are you a somewhat famous free climb vlogger, a disgraced former sheriff, or an avant-garde painter?
Ooh. What was the sheriff disgraced for?
I have a generic backstory loaded up, but if you want to come up with your own disgrace, then you can feel free to. We're going to follow that same format of I'm going to give you guys some static options, but if you want to veer off course, feel free to, because that's when we get to all the fun parts of the world and the plot. That's how we get to the nonsense, and we're all here for nonsense.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be the sheriff since just so that someone knows how to fight.
You don't want it
Between
to
a
be a
composer
composer, a
and-
preacher, and a painter.
Yeah.
Actually, can I change mine? I'd rather be the psychiatrist.
Sounds
That sounds
good.
more fun.
Sounds good. All right.
Yeah, I'll be the sheriff then.
And second question, what non-occupation thing sets you apart? Starting with Tom again, is the trait that sets you apart, is it a stubborn refusal to give up, an undeniable charm, or a keen eye?
I think to make it in the world of operatic composing, I would have to have a stubborn refusal to give up.
That sounds good to me. Always a good trait. Sam, the concerned psychiatrist from out of town, is the trait that sets you apart a deep knowledge of eclectic subjects, an eidetic memory, or good fortune?
Good fortune.
Good fortune is an excellent one. And finally, Hayden, what sets you apart? Secret wealth and connections, previous experience with things best left unmentioned, or a set of violent skills that you don't like to talk about?
The third one's probably like mechanically the most useful, but when you said the second one of like you've seen stuff before, I think that's how I got to be like kind of kicked out of my old job, is that I knew what was, but everyone else pointed to the guy down the street that kind of looked funky, and I was kicked off the case even though I know he didn't do it. Probably did some other stuff, but I saw what really happened.
Fantastic. Previous experience with things best left unmentioned. And finally, there are 6 stats. We don't use a lot of numbers in this on this stream, in this show. I figured we'd add just a little bit of numbers. So there are 6 stats: strength, speed, wit, will, charm, and observation. And you each get to add a +3 to one of them, a +3 to 2, a +2 to 2, and a +1 to 2. So to put it in less numeric terms, you choose 2 to be great at, 2 to be all right at, and 2 to suck at. The system is going to always be D8 plus your bonus. And go ahead and use that same Tavern Tabletop code that we used for last time.
What was that?
Oh, just the word free, all lowercase.
Okay.
Sheriff Sam and Tom have joined the party.
Oops, wait. I can.
No, it's good. We know who everyone is. It'll work. So,
There we go.
Can you repeat the 6 stats?
I sure will. In
typing
fact,
down my
I will
notes.
copy and paste them into a Discord channel so you can read them.
Sweet.
That's always better. Into
Strength,
the
speed,
text
wit,
channel.
charm.
Yeah, strength, speed, wit, will, charm, and observation. I couldn't find a 1-syllable synonym for observation. I thought of just putting
Looks.
eyes. Yeah. Scan. Yeah. But I'm not too worried about it. So, does anyone already know how they'd like to specialize?
Yep, I do.
Sweet. Give it to me.
Okay, things I'm good at: observation, charm. Things I'm okay at: will and wit. Things I'm bad at: speed, strength.
Nice.
Right on. Hayden and Tom?
Yeah, I can go.
Yeah.
Top are strength and will. Next come observation and speed. and last, wit and charm.
Charm. Right on. And Tom.
All right. Things that are great is going to be will and charm, and then all right is going to be speed and wit, and then bad is going to be strength and observation.
Right on. I've got those written down. Just remember the ones you're good at, +3. All right at, +2. Suck at, +1. So it's not a huge... Yeah, it's fine. So, the three of you live in this town with a population of about 1,700. Or rather, you don't all live in this town. I'm sorry. It's part of... it's distinctly a part of Sam's character's backstory that he is a concerned psychiatrist from out of town visiting a patient nearby. On the outskirts of town, there's a particular small hill. You were all going past it at the same time one night, and that is what unites you, because on that very night, something came from the skies and struck into the town of Upland, Arizona. Something came from the stars. It was a color, like a greenish blue color. As it wafted closer, it looked almost like a bit of an aurora had strayed too far away, but of course, that doesn't make any sense. You're in the Midwestern United States. It's hot, it's arid, the climate doesn't make any sense for a borealis kind of situation. And of course, it made even less sense when that ribbon wafted its way down, picked up speed, and struck into the hillside. It created, once it was gone in a blinding flash of light, a strange opening in the ground that looked from all appearances like a giant mouth. There were chitinous teeth growing outward from it and fleshy tongue-like tentacles reaching out from the outside of it. And the most curious part of all, if one were to look down into this maw, they would see into what looked like a room inside of a building with pale green wallpaper. And not that this had caused a hole at all, more like it was a portal to a different world. The three of you were of course panicked by this, but one of you more panicked than most because he knew exactly what was happening. The disgraced former sheriff had seen this traveling maw before. It had struck one town where he had worked. And after leaving it in disgrace, he followed that town in the news. And as less and less reports came in, he became increasingly concerned until one day he returned to find that the town was gone altogether. Not just the people, but the buildings. It seemed that the place had been uninhabited for 100 years. Not wanting to see this happen again, the sheriff gathered the people nearby, knowing that they would be the only people who would believe what he had just witnessed. And the three of you made a pact. You're not sure exactly what this mouth portal is. You're not sure where it goes. But something must be done about it. And A, no one will believe you if you tell them, unless you show them, at which point they may react unfavorably still. And B, something must be done to prevent this maw from destroying the town of Upland the same way it destroyed the hometown of the disgraced sheriff. And so by night you've been returning to this maw, this portal, and by day you've been going around the town, pursuing your daily lives, gathering resources, finding clues at the local library, any hints in histories or folklore, and at night you've been returning to this place. And tonight is the first night that you have all decided you will descend into this portal. The only option left to you after poking and prodding, experimenting. You've done everything but cross the threshold. And so now you must decide on your strategy. Who's going in first? Are you all going in together? Are you tying a rope to a post nearby? What light sources are you bringing? What do you guys think is your approach to this strange, otherworldly threat?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think we should throw the sheriff in there first.
A likely story.
I like that you guys have
Sorry, I'm not
immediately
gonna- I'm not
adopted
gonna do that.
accents. It's worth noting in the world building for this, I did look up several real towns in Arizona. And one thing that you may be interested to know about the fictional town of Upland, Arizona, there is a cowboy museum in town.
Okay.
just to give you a little hint at the culture.
Rock on.
So
See, I reckon that the sheriff is the most likely to survive upon encountering some sort of opposition.
That may be true. I hate accents. Oh,
That was good. That was
no.
really good.
Really
Yeah.
give me composer vibes, like Arizona composer vibes. You know?
all those famous Arizona orchestra composers practicing their cello in the dust
Like
bowls. So yeah, what do you say to this proposal,
I guess it's
Sheriff?
not gonna do itself. I'm heading in.
And we'll be right here with the rope. We'll give 2 tugs and we'll pull you out faster than something fast. I didn't choose
That's the
wit.
saying. Yes.
Wit is not not one of my skills.
It's true, in character. Oh, by the way, speaking of in-character decisions, I will be awarding luck points for in-character decisions. You're each going to start this campaign with 3 luck points because you're going to need them.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
I'll take a flashlight, and I will enter.
solid. Armed with a flashlight and I presume a trusty service revolver. Is that a fair assumption for the sheriff? Yeah. And with a rope climbed around his waist, in a way that lets you, let out rope. I don't know if you got a full like carabiner, but I assume your setup is functional. That's what I'll assume. Sheriff, as you descend into this first room, it is strangely, as you cross the threshold of the portal, stepping carefully around the large stationary teeth that rim this mouth portal. Let me bring it up. It is strangely room temperature inside. It's Arizona in the summer and night has just fallen. It's pretty hot outside, but it feels like you've walked indoors when you descend through this portal. And looking around, you could see more than you could observe from the outside, trying to get a good angle on it. It is what appears to be a child's bedroom. There's pale green wallpaper with an intricate pattern on it. What appears to be a crib, but the shape of the crib is distorted, like someone tried to create in physical form an impressionist painting's depiction of a crib. It's strangely deformed almost. And looking inside of it with your flashlight, you can see that there's not blankets inside above like the cushion. It's what appears to be crinkly parchment paper that you would use for baking. There's a mobile or just mobile over the like hanging over the crib with a number of cylindrical toys. Please make 2 checks. First of all, an observation check and then a will check.
Okay, and these are D8s, right?
Yes, D8s.
Okay, that's this one, I think. 8 and a 5.
Right on. What is
And then
your bonus for the first one?
the first
Oh.
one was an observation, you said?
Yes. Actually, I just read the
Then,
DCs.
that's-
You're good. With just
Alright.
the flat rolls, you're crushing it. So,
Nice.
because your observation check was 8 or higher, very impressive. You actually see that one of the elements of the mobile is a container. And when you twist it open, there is a small scroll inside. Your will check before you read the scroll. You actually recognize that elements of the room look like your childhood bedroom. The will save means, or the will check means you don't take any sanity damage from this. It is at this point that I would like to mention you each have 8 health and 8 sanity.
Okay.
I feel like we're gonna yoink him out now. We just wanted a quick look.
Yes. For
anything
reference,
bad.
it is the pattern on the wallpaper. The color is wrong, but the pattern is right, and even you recognize a stain that you remember from a faint and distant memory. What this tells you is something that, in your brief experience with a similar portal in a previous town, something that had been a theory, but never quite confirmed. These rooms underneath the maw, which you've come to think of as the places beneath, are formed by the thoughts, dreams, and memories of people in the real world. They take form from your mind. And you would guess not just your mind. There are other elements of this room that don't have anything in common with your childhood, but you would guess they are from someone's childhood. And that this thing is feeding off of people's minds in the real world. There is a door that will let you go further on, but if they're pulling you out, then they're pulling you out, and you're good. For reference, you don't need to remake that will check in the future if you descend back into the, into the room.
Cool.
Yeah. And they pull you out. You now have this scroll. And you can go back in and go further anytime you want, or you can call it a night, because we're going to be using a sort of day-night cycle, where at night you'll explore this place, and by day you'll gather resources and try and recover some of the damage that presumably you'll take from the exploration at night. So,
I want to read the scroll
Right.
with all three of us huddled around.
You pop it open, and at this sort of mound of dirt, maybe 120 feet off of the nearest road, you look around to make sure you don't see any headlights, click on the flashlight, and read this scroll. Everyone is reading it. So everyone make me a will check.
Oh, that was dumb. I'm sorry, guys.
Be the D8.
D8.
Yes.
6.
A 6 is good. 6 will make it.
I got a 6 as well. Oh wait, but do I? Let me double. No, yeah, I got a 6.
This is a will check, you said?
Sure is. Yep.
Remind me what the bonuses are for what we're good versus bad at. Is it just plus or minus 1?
Yeah, good at +3, all right at +2, bad at +1. Yeah. So you'll always get a bonus.
Oh,
It
we
just,
still get a.
what bonus you get is based on that. Hayden, was that 4
Well, I gotta
also
read
your roll? Oh yeah, sweet. And you
Yes.
got a +3.
That was my.
Everyone passes your will check, so no one takes any sanity damage. It is unnerving to read this note, but not like psychically, permanently, damagingly so. It is unnerving, but helpful, as the text on the scroll describes an incantation, which the hastily scrawled text assures you will protect your body at the cost of some damage to your mind. Yeah. If you want to try this outside, you can go ahead. If you want to save it for a bad time, go ahead. But it is a series of 8 syllables and 8 hand gestures you're supposed to make while uttering these syllables. The syllables are confusingly written and include nonsense sounds like CTHU. But sounds that don't really exist in any modern human language, but that nonetheless you're pretty sure you know how to mutter out. So anytime you want to try casting that incantation, you can do so.
Do that right now.
Sweet.
Best we test it before.
Yeah.
That's a
Higher
bold
strength.
move.
Yes. So Sam, the concerned psychiatrist from out of town, utters this incantation and makes the hand gestures. The instructions make it very easy to follow, and when you finish, you feel as if your mind is struck by a heavy object, and you take 2 sanity damage. We are rolling 2d4 and taking whichever one's low for that one. So you take 2 sanity damage, lowering you to 6 sanity. And you feel as though there's a force field around your skin. Do you try it in any way? do you do anything to test it?
I'll ask Hayden to like wee me in the shoulder.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm curious.
All right, here we go. Wait, shoot or just hit?
Shoot, sure.
All right.
So the mechanical effect of this is that when you take physical damage, it rolls at a disadvantage. So I'm trying to think, how much physical damage is a gunshot?
Oh gosh.
I'm just gonna assign it the base level damage and call it a d4. So I'm gonna roll another d4 with disadvantage. You take 1 physical damage, and it is very clear that you take less damage than you really should from a gunshot wound. You also gain what I'm going to call a status effect gunshot wound. Namely, you cannot go to a hospital to treat any injuries without the authorities being notified.
Oh.
Sam. GSW.
Starting to think maybe we should take this whole thing more seriously, guys.
I think so too.
You're learning.
I
You
thought-
got this.
I thought that would go better.
Right
I
on.
felt this force field around me, and I wanted to give it a try. But do I still feel the force field around me? Is that still a thing?
You
or is
do.
it gone?
It is still present. Yep.
Cool. Well, at least we know it's not although it's probably a time-based thing, I would guess. But do we recuperate sanity and other things throughout the day? If
One of the actions that you can do during the day is to rest and recuperate. Yeah. And you make a strength roll to see how much you recover. So
And I did pick the shoulder because it's the best place to get shot. Because
makes sense. Right on. Well, one of you has sustained a gunshot wound, but you also learned how to cast a spell and the consequences of doing so.
all right, should we go back in? What do we think?
Yeah, it seemed fine. Like it's just kind of creepy.
All right, let's head back in.
Right on. As you all descend in here, Tom and Sam, having not made will checks observing this room for the first time, go ahead and make them. Tom, it looks like, has a +3, and Sam has a +2 for this.
So I got a
Sam
4.
has failed his will check.
Oh wait,
Tom has
I rolled
critically
a d20.
succeeded. Oh,
I rolled a d20. Sorry,
you got an 8 on the d20. That's
I
fine.
did get an 8.
I'll count it. It's 1 through 8. Oh, yeah. So that 5 + 3 is still gonna make it. Sam, so you all make the recognize elements of your childhood bedrooms, or at least memories that you have of childhood bedrooms. You see reflected in this place. There is a lamp on a tabletop that has one light out that holds a particular memory for Tom, and it's chilling, but you manage to shake it off. Sam, the psychiatrist, on the other hand, sees this and is disturbed when he recognizes this deformed crib as what his childhood crib looked like after his parents had thrown it away, and like in the dump as they were driving away, it looked like this. An adult memory of his crib, but a memory nonetheless that is reflected in this place in physical form, bizarrely.
And what sanity damage do I take?
Oh, yes. That is a flat d4. 3 sanity damage. So you are down to 3 sanity. What happens when you reach 0 sanity? We're going to find out pretty soon. It's looking like.
This
So-
is like a Doctor Who episode. I feel like it's
There
what it's
is-
giving me the vibes of.
There is still the room going to the next or a door that leads further on if you guys want to delve deeper. At any point, you can call it a night.
Let's
Onwards
delve.
and downwards.
Yep.
Excellent. In the next room, you see an almost cobblestone-like stone floor. It looks regal. In the center of the plain rectangular room is an opulent bearskin rug stretched out and just laid flat against the ground, and it like dug into the wall of one room with a chimney that appears to rise enough that it would break the surface of the ground if this were truly underground and not underneath. Yeah, the fireplace is already lit and is roaring. And in fact, as you guys walk into this room, everyone make a speed check and an observation check.
Could we just roll with advantage and put left and right on?
Sure. Yep. Those are d20s again.
Dang it! I keep doing that. It's such. That's absolutely. Ooh, or worse than the 18.
All right. So, what's the highest speed roll? Only one person needs to succeed at this. Think.
Got a 9.
All right. The
I actually
sheriff.
Oh wait, yeah, I got
Yeah.
something. Sorry.
The sheriff, a pretty quick man, and well attuned to the sense of danger, recognizes as you're all approaching this fire, he hears not just the crackling, but a high-pitched whining sound that something makes when it's under pressure and about to burst. And putting his arms out to either side, he pushes both of you back against the wall as the fireplace flares out like something flammable was inside of it. After doing this, it begins to die down to embers very, very quickly. Yeah, the sheriff has prevented anyone from taking physical damage in response to this. Very nicely done. And what's the highest observation roll? Looks like Sam
I got
an 11, the maximum
11.
possible roll for anything. Excellent. Being very well attuned to observation. The psychiatrist kneeling down next to this fireplace after it looks like it's died down enough to not be too dangerous anymore. You recognize the remnants of a bassinet in the fireplace, continuing the theme of childhood and as I bring up that a lot of this imagery has to do with like childhood, Sam's character, you're a psychiatrist. Do you think that you belong to any particular school of belief about psychiatry? Do you think your character is a Freudian or a Jungian or a Reichian? Do you have any inclination towards any of those, or are you just like a guy?
Can I be like? I don't even see. I'm not familiar with the field.
Yeah.
I would be interested, like, for the purposes of this game, in like evolutionary psychology, like why we've evolved to have the mental processes that we have.
Very cool. Right on. So, you, oh no. As a consequence of having passed this observation check, you gain some knowledge, but lose 1 sanity. So, very unfortunately, you have dropped down to 2 sanity.
We're doing great.
Jeez.
However, you learn that the places beneath are shaped not only by memories, but also by fears. And not exclusively the fears and memories of the party, but others in the real world as well. However, given the decor that you've seen of these areas, it's you would guess that it's specifically shaped by the fears and memories of people who are geographically close to this emergence. So you would guess that if you learn things about the population of this area as a whole, you might get a better idea of what you're to encounter, especially if this place is defined by fears, finding out what they are afraid of, their myths, their like the catastrophes that they fret about. That might give you a leg up as to knowing what's going to happen in here. You particularly become concerned that if there are any specific cryptids that people fear in this area, even though they might be folk stories and like not really things that exist in the wild, they might come to exist as manifestations in this place. That is of particular concern to you.
Do you share this? Just question for Sam. Do you share this information?
Yeah, I do. And by the way, you said we're in 2022 Arizona.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Watch
for
out
one
for like some
just watched a
Antifa something or like.
I for one just watched this Netflix documentary on Skinwalker Ranch, and
I was
that
hoping
is
you'd bring that up. Damn.
that is a personal fear of mine.
Okay, I encountered the phrase skinwalker 4 different ways when I was doing research for this setting. Ultimately, I want to put some fears to rest. Ultimately, I decided not to use skinwalkers as like a cryptid for this, partly because it's actually like a part of like Native American culture that a bunch of people have taken and re-mythologized. And there's a bunch of people who are like, hey, it's a specific part of that belief that we don't really talk about this yeah. And so like, in particular, J.K. Rowling got in a lot of hot water for being like, oh, you have an idea for a monster? Thank you. I'll be over here. Yeah.
Good to know. I was not aware.
Yep. The more
Also
you know.
good for our characters.
True.
Yes.
Yeah. No skinwalkers. Great news. Yeah. There is another door leading further onwards. But it appears that you have observed everything there is to know in this room. Now, many options of what to do
I'm
here.
thinking if you guys want to continue, as you wish, but I think I'm about ready to turn in for the night here.
Two rooms sounds like plenty to me.
All right, I just want to peek in the next room, just because I'm still feeling limber. I don't want to.
I was gonna say you can all call it a night. You can all keep going, or you can split up the party.
Oh, if you're going, I better go with you.
I will go wait by the maw of the portal.
Right on.
I will be there when you come out.
Real quickly, are you waiting just outside of the maw or just inside of the maw?
Just outside.
All right.
For sure, I'm out of here.
As you walk back through these two rooms alone, please make me a quick observation check.
Okay. At least it's observation. Okay, it's a 6.
All right. You don't see anything. And then you climb back out of the maw and you wait outside for your friends. So,
with my two sanity points.
2 sanity left.
The mind reels.
Mind reels. Right on. So it sounds like the sheriff and the composer are moving on to the next room.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Excellent. You guys open the door in this next room. There are no rolls to make right as you open the door, but there is a sheer drop right after the door. I'm not going to have you roll a speed check to like not fall in or anything. I think people generally don't step while opening doors. I think that's a bad trope. So I'm going to say you open the door, notice the sheer drop. In the next room, it's very poorly lit. You have to use your flashlight to look around. The walls appear to be made of just like cement that has that weird like perforation that I associate with like cold storage rooms, like rebar holes. You know what I mean? It's just cement with holes in it. And the entire room is full to like about 2 feet under where the door is of brightly colored rubber balls. It's a ball pit. It's just a giant, it's just like a featureless room except for a ball pit. There is also a doorway on the other side of this like large ball pit, maybe like 12 feet across. Probably not jumpable, but if you wanted to use like a rope and hook, or if you got like a ladder and laid it out across it, it would be pretty easy to cross.
Are there any holes in the cement near us that are in like reaching distance?
Yes. They're not really full-on handhold things. I don't think the free climber background was chosen. I was gonna say that's some bouldering grip strength right there. Just jam in a finger or two at a time, and you can. Still
I was
try.
mostly wondering if I could stick a flashlight in there.
Oh yes, yeah.
I will do that. We'll see if that's
Right
here tomorrow night.
Right on.
Bad idea. Yeah, let's head out.
Sweet. Yeah. You guys call it a night? And yeah. Go out. You are all happy to be back out of the maw and into the outside Arizona heat. Just that night heat. Classic night heat. You guys go home to to your various places of places where you live. You go to your homes and you sleep for what hours are left until the sunlight comes, and then you wake up. During the day, there are a number of oh my goodness, there are a number of actions that you can take. I'm getting them. I'm a frame rate of 3, but I'm getting there. So, daytime activities. You can study occult subjects at the library using wit. You can rest and recuperate at home using strength. You can pick up odd jobs using any skill that can let you pick up money, which can let you do 2 things. You can purchase equipment with funds, and you can visit the spa with funds, which is just a much easier and more effective way to rest and recuperate than if you are to just rest and recuperate at home. Finally, you can create art, music, or poetry with will, which can have various effects on your mental state. Or you can go to the bar using charm, and sometimes you'll be able to recruit friends. Sometimes you'll just be able to relax and have a drink. It depends on your charm roll. So everyone gets to do 2 things each day. What are y'all starting with? I'll copy this list into the...
We'll start with the rest and recuperate one, I believe.
Right on. Roll me a quick strength check and let me know what you get.
4.
4 total?
4 total.
All right. Unfortunately, a few hours rest can only do so much, and you are not able to heal or relax. Healing being increasing health and relaxing being increasing sanity.
Dang.
That's unfortunate.
Yeesh.
For the record, if anyone else gets funds, you can transfer them between yourselves at will. That's totally fine. So if anyone wants to make money and send your friend to the spa, don't let me tell you what to do.
I'll do that.
Right on.
I'll
What
go search for
skill?
odd jobs.
Yeah, what skill are you going to use picking up odd jobs?
Speed.
Speed. Excellent. Right on. Yeah, you find some manual labor just working as a field. Wait, is speed not? That's not your best stat, right? I think strength and will are your +3s. Speed is a +2.
You're
for
right.
you.
You're right. Then strength.
Perfect. Yeah.
Sorry.
Pretty much the same thing. You find a job as a field hand and just help out a farmer for the day for a quick day of work. Go ahead and make me that strength check. Let's see how much money you make.
Okay. 6.
All right, with a 6, you're paid a day's wages for a day's work. You earn 1 fund, which can send someone to the spa once, or can purchase 1 equipment.
I will send my buddy to the spa that I shot yesterday.
Right on. Sounds great.
You
And
can.
I hope they don't ask questions.
As no one else has taken damage, right?
Nope.
Nope.
Just me.
On the brink of death.
All right,
More
Tom,
on the
what are
brink
you
of
doing?
insanity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'll research the occult at the local library.
Excellent. Make a wit check to see what you find.
Alrighty. Haven't. All right, this time I'm gonna roll a D8 on the first try.
7
7
plus
plus
2.
2.
All right, you just crossed the threshold for the best option. You learn a great deal about. You find some myths that are reminiscent of this strange portal. In particular, while you were expecting to see a lot of parallels to like worlds after death, which are indeed like a factor in a number of mythologies. The place you find the most parallels is in Celtic mythology. Celtic mythology has largely been lost to history, wiped out by Roman Christians, and then English Christians after that. But what remains of like ancient Celtic religion discusses their concept of an other world, one word, otherworld, where a people who sort of function like a pantheon of gods called the Tuatha lived after they dwelt on, well, Ireland for a long time. The gods lived in Ireland for a while, and then another group of humans came and were like, hey, we want Ireland, and the Tuatha were like, okay, we'll take under Ireland. And they went to a place that, in your mind, sounds a lot like the places beneath. It's not an exact parallel. All the areas of the places beneath that you've seen have been cramped rooms rather than like a big, expansive world. Nonetheless, this Celtic mythology of the Tuatha becoming the she is the origin of a lot of fairy tales, literally fairy tales about fairies in traditional storytelling. You find a number of parallels that might be helpful here. This manifests as 3 floating +1s, which you could just spend at any point while you're making a roll inside of the places beneath. So
is that different from a luck point? Is a luck a reroll?
A luck is yeah. So you can declare that you're using a luck point ahead of time to roll twice and take whichever one to roll with advantage, or you can declare a luck point afterwards to re-roll something that you just rolled. So yeah, that is different. Oh, and the luck point that I completely forgot to mention while we moved on to the stats. The psychiatrist, the trait that sets you apart is good luck, right? That means you got 3 extra luck points. That's the whole mechanical effect of that. So you have 6 luck points whenever you want to use them. I'd also like to mention at this point, if your guys's like backstories or special traits ever are relevant to a roll, or if you think they should be treated as relevant to the roll, then let me know and you can roll advantage based on that. So if for example your psychiatrist wants to talk someone through a sanity break, then it would be reasonable for him to roll with advantage to do so. Yeah. Or if the sheriff is shooting somebody who's not moving, you didn't have to roll for the shot. So yeah. Those are the mechanical effects of those things. Right on. That's one action for everyone today. Coming back around to the psychiatrist, I'm assuming you're going to the spa.
Yeah.
Right on. You... Let me double check. Go to the... yes. You heal and relax for D4. So roll a D4 to see how much health you recover. Roll a D4 to see how much sanity you recover. As paid for by your friend, the
2
sheriff.
and 2.
Perfect. Okay. You are back at full health, and you are back at half sanity. So 8 out of 8 and 4 out of 8.
8 out of 8 with
Feeling
a
good.
gunshot wound isn't too bad.
Yeah.
True.
It's
And
a
no one at
nice
the spa
spa.
asks about your gunshot wound, so that's great.
Do I still have the status effect even though I'm at full health?
No, the bullet did not go deep enough into you to like just be in there permanently because of the awesome spell, which by the way lasted about 5 minutes and then did peter out as you expected it to. But yeah, it was pretty surface level. So even though it did some damage, now that you've been able to fully heal, you were just able to take it out and have now healed back over the wound. That spa has magical properties, not literally, as far as you know. Anyways, curious happening. Oh yeah, sorry. You haven't all used your actions, so that's 2 actions for the psychiatrist. What is the sheriff's second action?
I want to go pick up an extendable ladder
Right on.
to bring into the ball pit.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm torn because I'm like, that seems like an appropriate use of the purchase equipment thing if you have funds. But then I'm like, if you live
I
in
don't
this
have funds,
place, you would probably just have a ladder. So for the sake of just plot, I'm gonna say you can treat that as a purchase equipment action that doesn't take any funds. You can just grab your ladder. That sounds great.
Sweet.
Right on. What is the composer doing?
Even though mechanically it doesn't really benefit me, as far as I can tell, I feel like after night one of entering an alternate dimension of some kind, and then also after researching the occult this morning, the composer is gonna compose to like sort of settle down.
Nice. That sounds like a great idea. So you create art, music, or poetry. That is a will check, which you have a +3 to. In addition to which, since your backstory is directly relevant here, roll it twice. So advantage and a +3. This is as good as any check in this game is gonna get. So
I did terrible.
a 6 is still good enough. You create something, you don't consider it a masterpiece or your finest work, but it helps you put onto the page and into the notes some of the issues that you've been having vis-a-vis an otherworldly hell portal opening up in the middle of the ground. As a result, you have resistance to sanity damage for the rest of the night. So as you explore the places beneath tonight, anytime you take sanity damage, I will roll it with disadvantage. And if it would normally roll with advantage, I'll just roll it flat. So resistance to sanity damage. Great job. Yeah, the composer is coming in stacked for this second night. As the day winds down, you guys begin to hear reports of the events of the day. And indeed, you may have noticed this throughout the day. The green-gray mist that I mentioned on the outskirts of the town has begun to encroach into residential areas. In fact, it's now like on the outskirts and in the farms. It is just a thin layer of this greenish mist has covered the ground and seems to almost cling to people as they walk through it. It hasn't reached the innermost parts, the more commercial and like denser residential areas of the place. And people are starting to talk about how it's drawing outside attention, how there might be a news story about this weird weather phenomenon, or how meteorologists might come to town, weather people, and study this weird anomaly that's happening. It seems to only be the three of you that notice that whenever people talk about more people coming to visit the town, the fog seems to cling even tighter. So, you guys return to the Maw that night to do some more exploring. What's the plan? Just heading back in?
Keep going deeper.
Onwards and downwards.
Right on.
Can I investigate the first room? Because I feel like there might have been something I missed last night.
Sure. Yeah. What are you looking for in particular?
Anything out of the ordinary? Anything psychologically relevant? Maybe.
That makes a lot of sense. Roll me, or yeah, make me an observation roll or a wit roll.
I got
whichever
a
one
nat
is,
8.
Yeah.
Hey.
So that's an 11 total.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, so something that this psychiatrist would not have noticed if he wasn't the psychiatrist, and something that he wouldn't have noticed if he wasn't just so dang observant. You recognize one of the another element of this room, something you hadn't noticed earlier because it wasn't personally relevant, but you're here in town to visit a patient. A man by the name of Herbert West. And Herbert West's home that he lives in is something that he inherited from his parents. You recognize a feature not from his room, but from an adjacent room. The nursery in which he was brought up. You recognize a certain patterning on the carpet that you've seen in Herbert's home. And you start to recognize, we talked about this place is based on fear and memories. It grows based on those. And it's the fears and memories of the people nearby. But you're beginning to think certain people's minds affect it more than others. And in addition to which, they don't have to be permanently in town. maybe they just had to be in town at the impact of the color from space. But yeah, in particular, the minds of you three and the mind of Herbert West seem to be reflected in the various accoutrements that you see here in these rooms. And studying you three, people who are, or you four, in fact, and people who are similar to you, or trying to find out what you all have in common, might lead you to some conclusions about the nature of this place. So, pressing onwards. Excuse me. What else? Yeah. You guys open the next room. The fireplace has completely died down. It looks like someone has added fuel since you left, but it has burned back down. And then in the ball pit, the flashlight is still there, but has run out of battery.
All right. That's comforting. At least a little.
Yep. It's confirmation of that this place is like a permanent place, or at least like a not constantly changing place, and that time passes here. Weren't sure if it was a Lion Witch in the wardrobe situation, but yep. Using the extensible ladder, do you guys press on past the ball pit? Right on.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's reasonable to have you guys roll for walking across a ladder. I think that's a task that most adults can accomplish. You're probably fine. And Tom didn't pick the injured veteran status, so none of you were walking with a limp or a cane or anything. So, you guys are set. Opening up the next room. You open it to the flickering of overhead lights in what appears to be a room in like an office building. There's a number of cubicles sitting around, and upon like looking over the edges or like walking into the cubicles, you see no computers on any of the desks, just binders full of paper and pens with no ink, and unsharpened pencils, and nothing really of any particular use or description, until one of you turns the corner and sees a solitary figure hunched over one of the desks. If any of you decides to approach this hunched figure, which you can start to hear is sobbing very gently, it'll be a charm roll to approach them.
Well, I was gonna suggest the sheriff shoot him, but the sobbing, I can go check it out. Have that pistol ready, though.
Right on. Yeah, make me a charm check for approaching this weeping stranger. Ho ho ho. Wait,
I have a
wait.
+3.
Oh.
What?
Did my screen update, or did Sam also roll for it? Was that that was a previous roll. Okay, yeah. 2 plus 3 is 5. Unfortunately,
Can I use one of those +1s?
Yes, you can.
If it'll matter.
You raise it to a 6.
All right, I'll
do you
do
raise
that.
it any higher?
Sure. It'll. Yeah, I'll give it 2. Make it a 7.
All right. Very unfortunately, a 7 is still not high enough.
Damn it. Should have gone with the 8.
Yeah. The figure turns towards you, and you see that its facial features seem to be painted on. Not that its face is made of like a mannequin-like substance. It appears to be skin onto which someone has painted weeping eyes and an open mouth. It shrieks, and as the sheriff begins to take fire, it skitters away from you on all fours. Sheriff, go ahead and roll, I'm going to say a speed and an observation check. You have to pass both, but the DCs for both of them are very low.
Cool. Speed, I've got 5 plus 2, 7. And
That'll pass it.
observation, I've got a 3 plus...
Plus 2 is 5. Both of those are enough, and you manage to take a chunk out of this thing's shoulder, at which point it does crack like porcelain, despite looking very much like skin, and this thing, having started to skitter up the walls on all fours towards the ceiling panels, slumps as spraying out of it, not blood or anything like insides but a number of purplish black worms that seems to be running through this thing like veins. They spray out from this thing as it falls from the wall, and the worms spray across a good section of the floor and wall, and all begin crawling desperately up the ceiling, trying to escape into the ceiling tiles.
Whoa.
Ew.
So, unless you
Well,
stop them,
should we keep going?
the worms squirm right out of there, and you guys are left alone. There's one more roll to make. No one's going to try and scoop them up, collect a sample, take them to the lab.
No chance in hell.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, looking around, you guys recognize a number of the carpets in this office. Now that you have like more time to peruse it, you're alone here now. A number of these are like wet, and analyzing further, it smells like someone spilled like high proof alcohol on the very plain office carpeting in here. Everyone can make me an additional observation roll. This is another one that only one person has to roll high enough for. So yeah.
8.
8, perfect. You recognize a watermark on the paper. The paper that seemed featureless, none of it had any writings on it, anything printed on it. When you hold it up against the light, you realize that there is, well, a watermark that is visible if you look very closely with a light. And so using the flashlights to closer analyze this thing, you recognize it shows a bizarre, mind-expanding geometric pattern. You feel something starting to happen to your mind as you study it, and you can stop. If you study the shape, you lose 1 sanity, but increase max sanity by a d4. So if anyone wants to do that, you know all the you know what'll happen. It's just you lose 1 sanity, increase max by d4. So does anyone do that?
No.
The composer does?
Yes.
Right on. The composer analyzes the baffling non-Euclidean geometric shapes represented by this, and maybe comes to a better recognition of the shape of this place. Yep. Tom is now at 7 sanity out of... Go ahead and roll a d4 to see how much you increase your max sanity by. 7 out of 9. So, there is another door leading onwards, this one made of older wood. There are actually what appear to be bullet holes in this next door, through which flickering like candlelight is happening. You guys can look through the holes to look at this, or to look at this salon, or this next area, or you can just open the door and walk in. Depends on how comfortable you are putting your eye close to things in a horror story. I've seen Criminal Minds. I won't apologize for it. What y'all doing?
I will take a look. I'll do it.
Right on. Yeah. Peeking through it, you see on the other side what appears to be an old-timey saloon. Shelves lined with translucent bottles of like different colors and stuff. Once again, confirming your theory that the thoughts and preferences and aesthetics of the people who live nearby drastically affect this. This looks a lot like the weird like cowboy museum that's kind of the only tourist attraction in this small town. Yep. Do you guys move on to this next room? Do you yeah. What y'all up to?
Yeah, how's everybody feeling? We still good?
Yeah, it's just a saloon. Be
Let's
fine
do
in
it.
there. Grab a drink.
Right on.
I will not, but you're welcome to.
Yeah. You guys head into this, what appears to be a saloon. And upon the first person walking in, like breaking the threshold, music cranks up to life. And looking over in a corner underneath like a staircase that leads to like an almost loft looking thing, like it looks down onto the main floor. There's just like tables up there, but underneath that staircase there is just a jukebox, just a completely time appropriate for this this like deliberately old-timey saloon. A jukebox cranks up to life and is just playing really strummy banjo music. Yep. As you guys walk in, you realize there is another exit. This one is a trap door leading further down instead of further like across. But it is covered in the debris of what appears to be a broken table or like a shattered door or something. It'll take a strength check to move it. You can check out the jukebox. You can check out the bottles. But there are no immediate rolls, like reaction stuff that you have to encounter upon entering this saloon.
I'll go to move the table.
I'll go check out the jukebox.
Sweet. Sheriff, roll a strength roll. And
Can I help him?
Yeah,
Yes,
for
please.
sure. I'm gonna say that represents an additional +1 on your strength roll if you are being helped.
Okay, 5 + 1 is 6.
Yep, that'll do it. You managed to push all the debris to the side from this trap door, at which point it immediately begins to shake, like something on the other side of it is trying to get in. But pushing the debris to the side, you were already like kneeling on top of it. So right now your weight is the only thing holding it down. Meanwhile, the composer is flipping through all of these the songs on this. It includes a number of contemporary songs, but they're all about cowboys or like are very Western in nature. You see Big Iron on there. You see what's the one I'm thinking of? Butcher Pete.
Guitar.
You see, yeah. You basically you see the whole Fallout New Vegas soundtrack on there.
There we go.
As well as a number of tracks with concerning names like Distant Whisperings and The Moon's Secret.
I choose things. Can I like play one?
Do you have a quarter?
Probably not. It's 2022.
True. Yeah. There is
I will
a
remember to
chord
bring
slot
one
and
for
a number
tomorrow,
of
though.
songs. Yeah. Right on. Meanwhile, the struggling to get through the trapdoor, it happened very loudly for a couple seconds and then stopped, and it hasn't started again. But this trapdoor seems to be the only thing left to like move through to get to another room.
Well, I'm going to keep going. If y'all are.
Let's do it.
Right on. You open the trapdoor, flashlight and pistol dual wielding, I assume. And looking down, it's you don't see anything that could have caused that shaking. It's a very limited window into this next room, but you see a concrete floor and a bunch of like gym equipment and like a mirror along one wall. So there's a bunch of like weight benches and workout machines that have like various pulleys and levers to them. It looks like a Planet Fitness. In fact, it's got that like really garish purple that's very distracting and just looks bad on everything promotional. But once again, it looks like an impressionist did a painting of a Planet Fitness without fully recognizing it. Like there's the logo would be like a gear with a thumbs up in it or something, and there is like a logo looking thing there that's like a circle and there's like a hand kind of shape on it, but there's too many fingers on it, and it's not quite like a gear. It looks like someone tried to paint it from memory, like a child tried to paint the shapes from memory. Yeah, looking around, you are very careful, obviously, because there's something on the other side, but you are able to peek into all the various corners of this room, and you don't see anything like alive or moving that could have done that. So, yeah. Do you guys head in? And if so, who's going first?
I'll go first with the gun.
Right on. Sweet. You drop down, look up, flashlight, put it around. You've been able to look into this room, but there's something different about this room than when you were able to drop in. Namely, you can see your own reflection in the mirror. And when you do, please make a will roll.
Okay. 10.
A 10. There is something off about your reflection in the mirror. And while it's viscerally unsettling, you're trained, you're disciplined, you're a professional. You settle yourself, investigate it closer. Moving closer to the mirror, but not too close, because you're well aware that you're in a horror movie now. You recognize what's so off-putting about you in the mirror. The dimensions are the same, the facial features are the same, but it has a different facial expression than you. It's grinning. Just a little bit. Just the mouth is so slightly open. When you're looking at a very plain face, it's gone. And aside from that, it looks where you look, it faces where you face, but you recognize that that's what was unsettling about it. You realize that your friends may be better prepared for this will check if you tell them what's going to happen ahead of time.
Hey, this is one of them, what you call them, carnival mirrors that messes with you, but it just makes you happier. I hate it, but I just thought I'd warn you guys what to expect.
For sure. Doesn't sound too bad. Drop down.
Right on. Sweet. Yeah. Everyone drops in. There is another door. This one completely not fitting with the scenery at all. It's like the door to a barn. Like, it's big and it's got two sections that would like slide to the side, and it's just on the wall of this gym. Just like adjacent to the mirror, the full length mirror. Yep. Sweet.
How are we
You guys
feeling,
move
boys?
further, or you? Yeah.
I am debating the potential repercussions of smashing this here mirror.
I mean, there's plenty of weights around. Let's give it a shot. You know,
You
Chop
lift up one of the weights, and it is light as styrofoam. It is once again like someone looked at a gym and tried to recreate it, but didn't understand the gym, didn't have a human understanding of what it was. And one more thing, as you pick up the weight, make me an additional will roll.
9
Excellent.
for me.
Yeah. You feel a distinct compulsion to start working out as soon as you touch any of the gym equipment. And you know that it's like too light to be effective gym equipment, but it's like the nature of the place wants you to do the thing that it thinks that humans do when they get into this room, which is to start lifting things until they get bigger. Yeah, you feel this compulsion, but are able to stop yourself.
I'll just start like, man, this is more than my max. I'm feeling pretty good here.
As you lift this weight, something strange starts to happen to you, actually. You did the thing that you were compelled to do, but managed not to. You actually feel not linearly like it would actually happen if you were working out. You know, when you work out, your muscles tear and then over time they rebuild. You feel after a couple of sets, just internally your muscles tear themselves way more than is appropriate to happen all at once, and you actually lose 2 health. But you gain 1 strength permanently. You have an additional +1 to strength. So you now have +4 to strength rather than +3.
Okay. I'm going to put the weights down. I hope that would be enough to like shock me out of it. But I will turn and be like, you guys, I figured out how them actors are able to get so immeasurably jacked for their roles and then just lose it. Like that Christian Bale fella, he must come here all the time.
As you explain this to your friends, you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror and realize that the mirror you is grinning slightly wider.
Can I try and like grin back?
You grin back, and it gets a very concerned expression and looks you up and down, like moving its head independently of yours, and then slowly begins to mirror you again.
I think I freaked him out. we should get out of here.
Should we smash the mirror? The mirror seems dangerous.
Oh yeah, that's what we were. Sorry. Yeah, let's try that.
Right.
I'm
It's
so
worth
scared to
noting,
touch the mirror.
When the psychiatrist says, "Should we smash the mirror?" his reflection mouths, "Should we?" but then refuses to mouth "Smash the mirror."
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna
we are smashing this mirror.
Can I pick up one of the weights and try and throw it at the mirror? Curious.
Yeah, the weights are incredibly light. You pick one up, roll a will check.
I know. 6 plus 2 to will. Yeah.
Yeah. You are not forced to exercise.
Toss it at the mirror. I'm curious.
Right on. It's
I'm curious to see
incredibly
what my mirror self does as well as I do this.
It's incredibly light, so roll me a strength check. See if you break this thing. I believe you are at a +1. Yeah.
9.
The 9 strength check. Unpredictably, the psychiatrist just like discus hurls this this fake weight into the mirror with enough force to shatter the full-length mirror. At which point the glass falls, revealing an entire mirror gym on the other side of what appeared to just be translucent glass. And with no barrier between you, your doppelgangers begin sprinting at each of you at full speed.
This
In
might
that
have been a
weird,
mistake.
inhuman way that something wearing a human body runs without knowing how humans run.
Yikes.
Everyone roll a speed check to see if you get to act before your doppelgangers. They have different stats than you.
7.
Oh, bad.
A 7, an 8, and a bad. That is correct. And a 3 means that sheriff and psychiatrist, you each get to act before your doppelganger, and then the composer's doppelganger will get to act, and then everyone's inverse. So, psychiatrist, what are you doing to your doppelganger?
Weight things seem to work pretty well. I'm gonna try and throw a weight right at his face.
Yeah, make a strength check for that discus roll. Yeah. Once again,
7.
with your worst stat, you make an incredibly powerful roll. You dome your reflection so hard it flips backward and lands like on its head, folds over on itself a little bit, and you do hear like a crunch that happens when someone lands directly on their cervical spine. So, your doppelganger starts twitching, but is clearly unable to stand back up. Sheriff, what are you doing about your reflection?
This Arizona Ranger. Boom.
Right on.
High noon.
Just like earlier,
Shoots him
make a a speed check and an observation check. They both have a very low DC, but you have to pass them both. Excellent.
Piece of cake.
Yeah. So with incredible accuracy, your reflection actually pulls out the gun at the same time, but clearly not knowing how to operate it, as is like observable with all three of these things. It pulls it out by the barrel like it's just gonna club you with it. And then you blast one right through its temporal lobe. And it collapses and drops its reflection of its gun, or of your gun, at your feet. Picking up and observing it, it looks like a functioning Colt revolver, just like yours.
Okay.
Psychiatrist me is interested. You said temporal lobe. These things do have temporal lobes?
Oh yeah, do you peel them open and find out?
No, not right now.
Yeah.
Let's
Fair
let
enough.
Tom
Yeah,
deal with his
because meanwhile,
doppelgangers.
the composer is... Tom, your mirror self jumps at you koala style and is just trying to wrap itself around you and then clubbing you with its forearm. Go ahead and make a speed check to try and not get koala grabbed. Incredibly, once again, performing against type, the composer, like, practically back handsprings, like springs back, lands a little hard on his shoulder, but rolls in a way that he scrambles back up, and his doppelganger like clatters to the ground on all fours. And composer, it's your turn to strike back. What do you do?
Oh, having seen the psychiatrists work with the fake weights, I'm gonna check a weight.
Right on. Your strength is +1. So a +4 means you like kind of nick this thing in the arm, but it mostly just like flips out of the way. Fortunately, we're back around in
Did
the
you need to
initiative
roll a will
order
check
to
to not
both
start
of your...
working out?
I did that earlier.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is a good point though. I missed that. But fortunately, your two friends are in the initiative order before your reflection. So what are you guys doing? You taking
Wait.
some shots? You throwing some weights?
Yep.
Right
I think
on.
this is my last. The last.
You got
roll-
2 now.
Yeah, that's true. I guess. But yeah, I'm just gonna.
Go ahead and
Interest.
roll your speed and observation checks.
Okay. Speed is a 6. Observation is low.
All right. Unfortunately, this bullet flies wild and buries itself in the wall of the gym, and so it is up to the psychiatrist. Go ahead and make that strength check to just kind of hammer throw this fake weight. Oh, man,
I'm
another
just assuming that's my
critical.
attack, but it is my attack. That is what I do.
I can't express enough. These are fake. They're not like they are. You're throwing toys at them, but you have rolled a lot of crits throwing toys at them. So once again, like the hammer throw for a frisbee, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you just downward spike this fake weight directly into the reflection of the composer, and it dashes its brains against the ground. Yeah. And suddenly you guys are alone in a double gym. These people all have a full inventory of everything you have on you. Down to identification cards in their wallets that are mirrors of yours. So like they're backwards. No one would think this was a real document, but yep.
We bring down some cash next time is what I'm thinking.
Not a bad idea.
It would be reverse
dab
cash.
back.
Although
It would have the
That's true.
in fact, they do have that. None of you had any quarters for the jukebox, but you see some reverse, yeah.
I bet we
Some
could pass that
gold.
off.
Some bullion is what we ought to bring down here.
Uh
All right.
so yeah.
I am curious about these things. Can we do like just a visual inspection?
Yes.
Like
Absolutely.
are these like actual people? Are they weird? Like, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and make me an observation. Yeah,
6.
you have a +3. In fact, yeah. So it is at this point I'd like to point out there are multiple types of therapists. There's counselors who just need like certification, and then there's psychologists, and then there's psychiatrists. My understanding of it is that a psychiatrist has a full MD. It's not a separate like doctorate. They are a doctor specializing in psychiatry. And so having that full range of medical training, the psychiatrist in your party is able to determine that these are or were living human beings with situs inversus. Situs inversus is a rare medical condition in which all of your internal organs are on the wrong side of the body. It's very hard to find organ donors because you need to find someone else with situs inversus. Patients with situs inversus die of complications from situs inversus like a lot of the time. So yeah, they seem to be carbon copies of you all. They have scars that each of like the sheriff has a number of scars from previous altercations. They are exactly reflected on this creature. It's unclear if this means there is an entire mirror reality and they have mirror friends to go to and mirror family that will miss them. But you would guess no, because they didn't act like mirror copies of you. They acted like feral weirdos that wanted to eat you, that happened to look a lot like you.
Okay, let's slice one of their arms and see if any worms come out. That's the next step.
Only a stifled blood flow, as one would see from a recently murdered corpse.
So they are full dead, is what we're saying.
They are
from
full
these-
dead. Yes.
Yikes. Okay. These weights, man.
So,
Take
you
one
guys
of
going to
these
the
to
next
go.
room? Or are you going home?
Yeah, and I'm gonna bring one of the bench press bars.
As a staff.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
For the record, it's not. I mean, in this case, it's actually good that it's not the weight of the thing that it's imitating, because those are like 45 pounds. Does that sound right? A bench.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, you grab a metal bar. You're not sure what metal it's made of, but other than the weight being completely wrong, it feels like a yeah. It's a metal bar that you can hit things with. Nice.
I will definitely follow suit.
Sweet. It's worth noting, in the mirror gym, there is a mirror trapdoor leading upwards and a mirror barn door leading further.
Yo,
Oh,
let's go up that trapdoor on the other side.
yeah.
Right on?
Why not?
Let's do it.
Yeah, you guys, it's pretty high up, so you have your rope that's running down through the original trapdoor. This one is just 10 feet in the air, but there's benches and bench pressing equipment, including like tall, like pull-up. One of them is like the assisted pull-up bar. It's worth noting none of the pulleys on any of these work like they're supposed to. Again, they look like functional machines, but it's completely surface level and they don't actually function. But they do hold weight, and so you are able to like get a stable enough footing on one that you can push up on the trap door. It's extremely heavy, like there's a pile of wooden debris on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
A high enough strength check could still do this. So is anyone gonna do that?
Yeah, I can give it a shot.
See, because I think with it, we ought to go all the way back to the entrance and see if there's a way out of this thing from the other side,
Yeah,
like the original Maw. That's what
I
I'm
agree.
curious about.
Right on. That is
That's
an 8.
7.
You have a +4 to strength
Oh,
now.
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
You, despite your Herculean
I'll use a luck point and see if I get any higher.
yeah,
And I do.
a 10 is superhero level. That's a great roll. So, the mighty sheriff manages to move this whole stack of wooden debris and just shake it off the trapdoor and finally click it up and pull yourself up, and pull your companions up after you. You're in a saloon, a mirror copy of the one that you were in earlier. There is a jukebox playing an unholy combination of sounds that only one of you recognizes. The sheriff, having had a religious upbringing, was alive during the Satanic Panic, and is used to hearing records played backwards. That was a big thing about secret messages hidden in songs played backwards. This is playing Big Iron in reverse. That's what the jukebox is doing.
I just want to
right
be
now.
clear. I had a religious upbringing as well. My dad wanted me to become a mega church TV preacher.
That's pretty good.
Good
Okay, you
callback.
get a luck point for that. You got 7 luck points. Start using them. Yeah, you are in this reverse saloon with the reverse jukebox. All of the labels you can read, they're backwards. All of the things in the jukebox, they are backwards. The letters are backwards and in reverse order. Yeah, it is a mirror copy of this room, and there is a door to the next room, which you presume would be the office. It might have a mirror version of this scary painted man.
I got
Right,
two
we got
guns
our-
now. I
our
kick the door
weapons
open, I
and-
go.
It's worth noting they both work. One of them revolves the opposite way that it should,
Sick.
so they both revolve outwards when you fire them.
Dope.
What's odd is everything else has been surface level, but the gun is an exact copy. It might be because the layer has seen the gun work like in action, and so it knows how to make it function, whereas it hasn't seen it in the Planet Fitness stuff. That's my current guess.
As you guys check this out, Sheriff, I'm going to have you roll a speed check.
Okay. Oops, that's a D6. I'm sorry. It's a 6.
Right on. You hear the sound of rope being pulled taut before it pulls tight across your waist. Someone or something is pulling the rope that you guys are walking in with from the other end.
Like the rope that's connected to our post outside of the maw on our side.
That you've been kind of repelling inwards. You've kept it around the sheriff's waist, and so you have like a line back through. You have a breadcrumb trail. Someone is starting to pull up the slack from your original entrance, or from that direction. It could be anywhere between you and that original entrance.
All
Okay. Do we
right.
cut the rope and continue exploring, or do we go back to check on our...
I think I don't know what I think actually.
Guys, I have 7 luck points. I think we keep exploring.
While you
For penny and for
Stuff to
pound.
burn here.
here, sorry, one sec. You can discuss this. I gotta go to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back.
So yeah, the plan is to cut the rope and keep walking.
I think so.
Maybe can we tie the rope to something in the office? Like, can we loop it around a filing cat? Are we in the office yet, or we're not in the office yet? We're
You're not in the
saloon.
office yet. You're still in the saloon.
Can we like loop it around one of the beer taps or something to just prevent it from getting pulled back anymore?
That sounds great. Make me a speed check, whoever's doing it, to do that.
Oh, it should not be me.
I can do that.
I think the sheriff is tied for the best speed in the party.
8.
Ooh,
Wait, is that a nat 8 though, right?
That's a nat 8. Yeah. So yeah, with another 10, the sheriff, seeing that this rope is being pulled, acts quickly, throws a loop around. Where did the sheriff grow up? Is he a lasso man? is he a full-on
Yeah,
cowboy? Yeah. So
Picturing Pedro Pascal in Kingsman is what I'm picturing.
I like that.
Or whiskey or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't seen the third one yet, but I liked the first two. Yeah, the sheriff throws two coils of rope around, yeah, the taps of the big old timey kegs that are around this place, and pulls as much slack through as he can before it gets pulled tight. And something on the other end is like tugging, but you can tell it's like a human strength tug. And in the meantime, knowing that these kegs aren't going to keep, you start wrapping it around structural beams and the jukebox, and like you put a number of anchor points down. Uh, yeah, it gives you enough time to untie yourself from the lasso if you want. You've only got like 60 more feet of slack that you were able to like pull to give yourself. So it'll probably get you past the office and into the ball pit if you're keeping going into the mirror dimension. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay,
Right on.
let's go.
You guys moving on to the next room?
Let's do it.
Sweet. You open the door to the next room. While the figure was obscured from your original entrance into the office, this one, yeah, is indeed mirrored. And you see the figure hunched over the desk. It seems it's frantically reaching into the filing cabinet that is like the lower right part of its desk. It seems to be pulling stuff out and putting it into itself. And then it freezes and turns towards all of you. Its face is only half painted on, like it hasn't been completed, and there is what looks like an open wound in its like torso that it is shoveling worms into from the desk. It is frozen, looking at you. It might be waiting for you to make the first move, or maybe it's weighing its options.
A wave.
Make me a charm roll.
Yeah.
5 plus 3.
An
8.
8 will do it. The thing just starts weeping and puts one hand to its face, but has like its painted eye isn't completely covered with its one hand, and it is still shoveling worms with its other hand while it just makes very intense eye contact with with the composer.
I think we skirt around the edge of the room past it.
Cool.
Right on. You guys do that, you leave it alone, and eventually when you guys have like cornered a thing and aren't looking at it anymore, you hear a skittering sound, and it has fled up one of the walls and just darted through a ceiling tile. Yeah, it just ran into the ceiling away from you.
Just had to get, its snack worm on its work break. I don't know. That was weird.
The sheriff's mom was right. Critters really are just more afraid of you than you are them. Looking at the paper, there is the reverse of that geometric pattern, and you can make that exchange again.
Mm-hmm.
You can sacrifice 1 sanity to receive D4 max sanity.
Yep.
Sweet, yeah. That is 1 more sanity damage for the composer. Rolling another D4. Oh man!
All right, come
see
on.
how much your max sanity increases.
There we go.
Yeah. So your max sanity is now 12. Very nice.
Try that too this time.
Right on. Roll that D4.
I also rolled a 3.
Sweet. Everyone has now taken sanity damage at some point. Everyone but the composer has taken health damage at some point, but not the composer. Okay. Sweet. Yeah. You guys hear a crack from the previous room as one of the kegs is pulled out of its place on the wall. In addition to which, you hear the distant sound of shattering glass.
Go check on that or keep pushing forward.
What could the glass be? We broke the mirror. What other glass was there in this place?
The glass didn't come from behind you, it came from in front of you. Like if you were to keep going to this world's entrance, this world's maw.
Wait, yeah, going backwards is the same as going forwards. We're gonna find out either way.
Forwards it is.
All
I
right,
think we should go forward. We're almost there.
forwards.
So,
Right on. Yeah, you guys open the door. There is the ball pit. The reflection of the ladder is still there. And you guys walk across the reflection of the work ladder into the next room. The fireplace, the bear. The fireplace is extinguished. It has the remnants of the bassinet, just like the original. You keep walking. You get to the green wallpapered children's room. And when you do so, look at you finally come to the maw and look up. The rope that you guys came down in isn't mirrored. You don't see like a rope coming down into this room. Yeah, you looking up, you can see the sky of this mirror world, but it is not your sky. You finally found the place where this mirror dimension fails to mirror your world, as in the sky there is a single enormous eye looking down on the world. Its eye clicking back and forth, looking all over, kind of like how an eye looks in REM sleep. Your psychiatrist would know from his MD. Everywhere it looks, as you guys peek out of the maw, everywhere it looks, something is being assembled. It looks in one direction and a tree is assembled as if from disparate polygons, as if it's being made out of glass and then stained to look like the thing it is mirroring in real life. And this rapidly moving eye seems to be desperately creating a mirror of your reality as you guys come out of it. Kind of like it's trying to reach the render distance. Like it's trying to create this world as you guys inhabit it. And as it moves more and more frantically, you see it grow bloodshot in the sky until eventually it stops halfway through creating the Cowboy Museum in the very, very distance. And it looks directly at the three of you. Everyone roll me another will check.
Ooh.
I'm going to use a luck
I'm gonna
point.
use a luck point. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna also do that.
Triple luck point, we got him.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
So with all those luck points, read me
Oh,
what
no.
you got in the end.
Can I use 2 luck
Eight
points at
total.
once?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm gonna use my last +1 and make that a 6.
Okay, I got a 9.
Nice.
I got
6,
an
a
8.
9, and an 8. The 9, you take no sanity damage, incredibly. The 8, you take disadvantaged sanity damage.
Okay.
So you only take 1 sanity damage, lowering you to 6 sanity and 6 health. Very, very clean, very symmetrical.
Nice.
Tom, your roll lowers it from advantage damage to just normal sanity damage. You take 2 sanity
I
damage.
have resistance to damage for the night.
Oh my goodness, that lowers it
Sanity
again
damage.
to disadvantage sanity damage, which means you also take 1 sanity damage, lowering you to 5. Incredibly, you guys all face one of the more intimidating presences in the places beneath, and lose very little sanity. And after this glare that it sends down at you, it simply resumes reconstructing the world, not wanting to be seen lacking. And so the eye flicks back and forth and is creating things. It creates things far away and up close. It doesn't seem to be working from the inside outwards. It seems to be getting, in fact, the most permanent details right first, and then adding things. It clearly added the like ground and like the terrain first, and then added trees because they are more recent, and to the mind of something so immense and old as this being, new and young and temporary. And it continued building from there, building structures and roads and things that mankind added, and which it apparently considers more temporary than trees. And finally, it starts recreating things that are close to you guys, it starts creating a person standing at the maw and looking down into it, and starts creating a rope that the guy is holding. And then behind him, it creates an entire tow truck connected to that rope. And as it does this, you guys realize what's happening in the maw in your world. And in the distance, you hear an engine start up. You hear several things snap in the distant saloon behind you, and the sheriff is yanked desperately quickly downwards into this maw. Now, I probably should have asked you guys before
I want to
narrating.
take a couple.
Shoot the moon.
I want to take a couple pot shots at the big eye as I get like yanked.
Make me the classic speed and observation combo roll that it takes to shoot something. Only this time you're shooting an eye in the sky. You are pretty smugly confident that the bullets are headed in the right direction, while you are yanked by your guts into the maw, dragged sliding across this thing, across the ladder, like. Roll me a speed check to try and keep your footing to like not slam into the most lethal parts of this place.
That's
An incredible crit. Of course, we do Lovecraftian horror where the characters are like supposed to lose no matter how competent they are, and you guys just time after time deliver on these insane rolls. If you guys rolled this well in the main campaign, I'm just gonna say it, you wouldn't be in jail. So, you keep your footing desperately, like kicking off of the really heavy things and pulling your head in just before you slam face first into the stuff. You don't get dragged across the broken glass in the gym. The rope is like pulling tight across these corners, and you can hear, and in fact, you are halfway across the original saloon when the rope begins to fray. You are pulled fully through a cubicle, because those things are not really built to last. That's something they got right in terms of material reconstruction of the modern world. You smash through one of these cubicle walls, and you hit your original ladder, not the mirror ladder, with your shoulder, and are like flipped into the air as the ladder like tips and falls into the ball pit. You notice it falls a disturbingly deep like depth, like there was another 100 feet of ball pit down. Yeah, we all knew that was coming. And the rope finally snaps as you are pulled into the green room, and you slide across your back on this nasty carpet and are like lying flat on your back looking up at the maw as a man in a suit and a jacket. You know those jackets that say FBI or like police across them? He has one of those jackets, black leather, and then in yellow letters, containment. As he looks down this place, smoking a cigar, and pulls it out of his mouth, breathes a heavy cloud of cigar dust like into the maw, at which the edges of the maw seem to recoil slightly.
Cool.
And this like special agent looking guy goes, "There more of you?"
Yeah, there's two of them, and we almost had that big eye son of a bitch.
I feel you. And then he pulls out a gun. So,
Son of a bitch.
this was supposed to be a self-contained story. I really didn't expect the mirror dimension journey to kind of start. I mean, I knew what it was gonna look like. I guess I just thought it would go faster. I don't know. Just like every time we tried to create a self-contained story, that's just going to have to be part one, and we'll maybe make it back around to the town that nobody will miss in another installment in the future. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, viewers, for viewing. And we'll see you next time. Bye.